Hello and welcome to another step-by-step how to tie tutorial video. This is the March Brown Wet Fly. This is a classic sea trout pattern. Today I will be tying this on a size 8 Moonlit ML057. This is their large nymph or streamer hook, barbless. I will be using a flat waxed thread. This is a 140 denier. Flymasters Plus. On the tag end, I will be using a small French oval tinsle. The tail will be hackle barbs from a Hen Hackle. This is a Coachman Brown Hen Hackle. The body material itself is a natural furs blend dark Hares mask. A lot of extra bugginess in there. The wing up top is a turkey tail, is what I am using. And for a collar, we will be using a grouse feather. So let's go ahead and remove our sample and grab a hold of our blank hook. Again, this is a size 8. We're going to go ahead and start our thread up front. Cast that on, and we can just go ahead and trim off that tag end. At this point, we're going to tie in our ribbing. Again, this is a French oval tinsle, small. Go ahead and get that started, and we'll work that all the way to the rear end. What I like about the flat wax thread is how flat we can get it to lay down with just a little twist on the bobbin counterclockwise. All right, we're going to wrap into the bend of the hook just a little bit. We'll bring our thread forward and we'll build our little gold tag. We'll take our time back there. Take a couple of touching wraps. That looks good for a tag end. We'll go ahead and secure that down with a couple of locking wraps. And set that out of the way. Alright, next we're going to grab our Hen Hackle. This is right off the hide, so I'm going to come on the back side and look for something with some length to it. Lots of different variations out there. You can choose what you wish. For this, I like using the dark brown Hen Hackle. Let's go ahead and just trim off our excess. And what I want to do is I'm going to strip off a little tuft from either end. Flip it over. And just strip that off. I might lose a couple in the operation, but that's alright. Tie in our tail. I'm going to go a little bit longer than a hook scap on those longest fibers. We'll just tie this all the way in. All the way back and work it all the way forward. Just maintain those fibers in there, those barbules. Keep that body nice and even. At this time I'm going to add just a little dab of wax to my line. This will help us in our dubbing process. Even though it's a waxed thread, sometimes I like to just add a touch more. Sometimes that little bit of added wax will help. Alright, we're going to take a less is more approach on our dubbing. And we might have to do this in a couple of stages, which will likely be the case. We'll just touch our thread to the, dubbing to the thread. And we'll just give that some pinches and twists. I really like the way that builds up there. Alright, we'll take our dubbing to the rear end. and we'll start to wrap forward. Again, I'm not afraid to just take a pause and add a little bit more wax and a little bit more dubbing material. Again, this is just a natural fur blend Hares mask. Some will use the Hares ear. I like the little bit of added bugginess in the mask. But to each his own. We're tying the March brown. A little bit more. There's no sense of trying to rush it and clump it all in there in one fellow swoop. Truth be told, with the camera set up the way it is, I am a little limited as far as my reach. But nonetheless, we just go little bits at a time. All right. Plenty of room up front for our collar and our wing. We'll go ahead and just do our ribbon. I'm going to just bring this forward. I'm not going to necessarily counter wrap the ribs. We went forward on it prior to, so we'll just continue that same direction. We'll just work that all the way up to our thread. Sometimes I'll give that the little extra twist at the end. One additional wrap just to make sure everything is brought all the way forward. We'll trim off our French oval tinsel. And we're going to grab our grouse feather. We're going to take our feather, we're going to tie this in by the tip. In order to do so, we're going to carefully fold the barbs back. Here we go. Nice and even. Oh, ripped a couple of them off. So we're going to go right at that point, right about there. Down and towards the front, couple of tight locking wraps. And we'll trim off our excess. We'll grab a stem with our hackle pliers just to give us that little bit of added reach. Preen those barbules back. We'll take a couple of turns. One, two, three. Might as well just finish it with the fourth. Ideally, you want your tips of your hackle feather or grouse feather here to go approximately to the tip of that hook. So we're just a little bit long here, so that's all right. It's going to be a beautiful March brown. I'm going to wrap over those hackle feathers a little bit. There we have it. All right, next we're going to tie in our wing. You can marry wings or you can work off of the same feather. I'm going to be using one feather, a turkey tail. And there's no real good way for me to do this in front of the camera. This is one of those operations that really work best on the leg or on the lap. So I'm just going to go ahead. I guess I could show this. This is how I trim. I'm going to come down here and I'm looking at that bit and that bit. Oh, that's a sharp hook point. And I'm going to trim down, pull that off, and pull that off. I'll take my two ends, turn them inside to inside. Match up my ends first, and then I can start working on matching my tips. We'll spin that around. I want to line up our distance. Alright, once we have our wings more or less lined up, I'm going to add a little bit more wax to our thread. A little bit of wax will definitely help as we tie in our wing. Because we're going to come in and we're going to do the pinch method. First we'll line that up. Give our material a pinch. I'm going to pinch my thread up. I'm going to pinch it down. I'm going to pull straight up on it now. Sliding everything down, pull down it once more, and tie in our wing. I like that. I like the shape of that one. I'm going to go ahead and trim this off as much as diagonal as possible, just like we would with a hair hackle or a hair wing. So we can end up with a nice, even head up front. This might be just a little bit larger than some would recommend, but I like a good size head up front. We'll come in with our whip finish. Finish that off 1, 2, 3. And trim off our thread. Very well. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just speed this along. We're going to come in with some Solarez Bone Dry. And this is one of the cases of a little dab will do ya. Just a little dab. We'll take it right off the brush. And go right onto our bodkin. Where we'll just add our little droplet of Bone Dry. We'll just make sure we get that where we want it. And a nice even cone head up front is what I'm looking for. And I think we've achieved that. We'll let that UV resin set here in just a couple of seconds. 10 seconds is all it takes here for the bone dry. And there you have it. That is my variation, my interpretation of a March brown sea trout wet fly. So thanks for tuning in. Happy tying, and until next time, tight lines. Peace.